ultimately, does he believe in this, what I'm talking about? I don't know. I would say that's a long conversation. And frankly, you know, there's things that he will say and won't say. The same with Steven Spielberg or any of these people, you know, if you think about it. Why are they making movies? Why is Spielberg making movies about aliens so much? And, why does Hollywood propagate certain stories, you know, alien invasions, blackouts.
Sure, like there's a lot we don't know, and that's what the occult's all about. Well, let me put it to you this way. You told me some stuff that fits in with information I've gotten from separate people that are at your level of connections and things I've personally witnessed growing up in Dallas and then also Bohemian Grove, so experiences I've had. And at the time, you didn't say, this is off record, don't say anything, but later I said, hey, I'm going to bring this up. And you said, no, no, no. I mean, when are you going to talk about the things that you know about the Illuminati?
I think that'll come out in the course of the next year if we can do a documentary on this stuff and actually document it. I mean, I've seen photographs. I've seen photographs of some of the rituals beyond what you did. I mean, actual, like, you know, estates, private estates where the cloaks are on. It looks like, you know, eyes wide shut.
Sean, you haven't just seen photographs, right? I mean, you've got some other sources here.
I have other sources. I've never been invited. I'm hoping to.
All right. But, oh, man, I tell you what. All right, whatever.
That, we're trying to investigate this stuff and actually document as clearly as possible on camera what's going on. This is, but it's very serious to these people, and they, are not, they have killed in the past to quiet it and make sure that people don't know the truth. But I think that this is 2012, 2013. This is the time for awareness.
Well, look at what happened to Kubrick. They did cut 24 minutes of that film. He refused to cut it and died the day he refused because he had final cut. Then they cut it and released it.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing. My friend Alex, who was on the show with you last time, he saw lights in the sky over, where was it? It was off the coast of Jersey. And
there's a bunch of crazy stuff just happening in Phoenix, but go ahead.
This was actually when Occupy Wall Street had been shut. Remember the week that Occupy Wall Street in New York, they shut down Zuccotti Park, and then that week, then they returned to the bridge. Well, the night they shut it down, there was serious activity in the sky on the coast of Jersey, right across from New York, upstate. It's like the Pacific Highway there. And the point is that there was a whole town that got shut down. Actually, the cops blocked everyone, all traffic entering this area, Nyack, New Jersey. So they block, or is it New York? Nyack, New York. But the point is that they blocked this whole town. And Alex was checking it out because he's like, why is there so much going down? Oh, they said that there was a power outage or something. But no one was allowed to go to their homes. No one could even enter. Well, he saw a couple things in the sky. And next thing he knows, he's taken in by men in black. Basically, they arrest him in the woods where he sees this. He's thrown into Greystone Mental Hospital for a night. He then, is drugged. He calls me from the hospital. He's like trying to get out, but he's drugged out of his mind. I just tell him, okay, just sleep it off. Wake up in the morning. He gets out. He can't get any records. They deny that he was ever there. This is how these guys operate. You understand? And they try to then build a case. That's why a lot of people who ultimately are around the Illuminati, people like Arizona Wild and others, they end up in mental hospitals because they get forced into it. And the point is, once you're there...
Well, then they use the mental hospital as the cover. That came out with Ewing Cameron. Thousands of school children they would kidnap. This is on History Channel in Virginia and up over the border in Canada. And they would actually create mind control slaves. This is declassified. And they would run it out of mental hospitals.
Right, exactly. In fact, my friend was telling me last night how the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt is run by two of the head guys there are psychiatrists trained from Tavistock in England, right? So what they'll do is they'll have you go to prisons and around these countries in Egypt or Israel, wherever it may be, and they'll basically start to psychiatrically analyze the profile of the prisoners there and decide who's useful to be a candidate for extremism, for terrorism, for murder, and that's how they recruit people. No.
I knew this 8 years ago, but now it's been admitted. You're absolutely right. They have the real camp X-ray at Guantanamo within the base. Army and CIA psychiatrists run it. And that's why all the new al-Qaeda leadership are picked up as 14, 15, 16 there, taken, tortured, trained, and then released, and then they command the new al-Qaeda.
Right.
That's why the leader of al-Qaeda in Syria and the one in Libya were actually at that base for 5 or 6 years apiece. You're absolutely right. But it's even admitted that they are in there torturing them and mind controlling them in there. So Guantanamo is actually a terrorist factory.
Exactly. That's the whole point. It's the old British Tavistock style of operating. You basically you profile people, you build terrorists, you deploy them around the world. I mean, it's like this. You got to wake up. I mean, people have got to wake up to this fact. These terrorists are known entities. You can go to any city and talk to a police officer. They know who the mob guys are. They know who are the most the drug dealers are. They know the most likely candidates for murder and crime. I mean, this is just basic police work. So you're going to tell me, Osama bin Laden sitting in Pakistan for 10 years and no one even notices? I mean, we live in delusion. We live in the Wizard of Oz reality. And I think people are waking up step by step. But the big problem, Alex, is that how do you get information across when there's how many millions of websites available for information, for traffic, and then you get Fox News and obviously the major news networks who completely cover up any aspect of reality, and they spin you lies. But at least online there's available information, but there's just so much out there. That
what do you think the system's going to do, though, to try to block out the awakening? They're openly wanting to censor now.
They openly want to censor the internet, and I was told that's what the Bilderberg group decided last year. Who was it? The famous Daniel Estulin, I think, said that from the last Bilderberg conference that was discussed. The policy agenda would be to censor the internet as best they could. And then there was obviously this bill that was brought up earlier this year. I'm not sure what happened with it.
No, Jim Tucker said the same thing, and then boom, as soon as that conference was over, it began in earnest. Let me raise this point. So it's fair to say the media twisted what you said. All you did was recognize that Islam, from its founding, from your perspective, is worshiping the same God and we shouldn't have war with each other. They spun that like it was a bad thing and that you had now, basically gotten married to Ahmadinejad.
Well, I ultimately ended up becoming his defender when I was simply trying to point out that he's not a madman. You see, if you can turn the president of that country into a madman, some mad dictator, then then you can't have dialogue with the guy, right? You can't have dialogue with that country, even though he doesn't even run the country. But aside from that fact, that he's a president within a Republican structure and doesn't have as much power as our president, who's the biggest fascist in the world at this point. But I'll get into that in a second. So the point is that if Ahmadinejad is mad and he's a warmonger and he wants to destroy Israel, we can't talk to him, we can't negotiate with him, we have to attack, or we have to basically promote the idea of destroying him. So I'm basically saying, no, these people are rational, reasonable people. The same thing that actually came out a week later when the Joint Chief of Staff chairman comes out and says the same thing. Iran is a rational actor. This is, completely absurd. It's not prudent to bomb Iran. I mean, they've given us all the ammunition now to destroy Obama because Obama is the guy leading us into this goddamn war. The same way that he put the NDAA in place. He asked Carl Levin and the Congress to make sure that U.S. citizens cannot be targeted by our military. U.S. citizens can be picked up and detained. Are we out of our minds? What happened to our country? We've destroyed the Constitution blatantly, openly, and no one says a thing.
Well, I'm glad you raised that. We have the NDAA passing. They're passing laws for felonies if you protest. They're openly saying the UN and globalists run war-making powers, and the Congress is vestigial. I mean, this is off the charts.
Off the charts. He's assassinated American citizens. He's deploying drones across the country. But more importantly, he states openly, U.S. citizens can be detained indefinitely by the military. Okay, destroy due process, destroy habeas corpus. That's our constitutional basis right there. The U.S. military is going to be used against our citizens. They now have martial law in place. The only question is when they want to use it and to what extent. And we basically said, because it's Obama and he seems like a smart guy. The guy is like Thulsa Doom from Conan. He's a cult leader with a good voice, and he knows how to hypnotize people. That's the way I look at him. And we better get him out of office so we can get another Democratic candidate, because otherwise this guy may not go away. It may be more than 4 years. I could imagine he would, if he's ready to shred the Constitution about military arrests, who knows, he could become a dictator.
No, I've got to say it. I mean, as bad as Bush was, Obama is even worse. I mean, he is just totally assassinating the republic right now. We'll break it down straight ahead with Sean Stone.
2012 is...
But you can't turn things around until you can actually recognize that you have a problem. We'll be back tonight with the Nightly News, 7 o'clock. Back tomorrow, Lord willing. We've only got 5 minutes left with Sean Stone. Always great to have him on. Sean, I never ask you this. What's the best web address or place to go for people to find some of the things you're up to?
Oh, man. I got to set up a website. That's all there is to it. I've been posting all these interviews and whatnot on on Facebook. They're obviously on YouTube, but I have to consolidate it, and now is the time to do it. So once I get it up, I'll let you know.
All right, we've got 5 minutes left, so there's so many questions I've got, but what are points you'd like to make before we're out of time?
I mean, the point is that, we got to avoid this World War III, first of all. This is very serious. I mean, the Russians are not joking when they say that they don't want to see Iran attacked or the Syrian regime overthrown. And we don't know to what level they'll actually go in terms of putting boots on the ground. I mean, don't forget, Iran is on their border. It shares the Caspian Sea with them, right? And historically, the Russians have been known to intervene, whether it be Afghanistan or Georgia, when the West starts to mess around, screw around on its border. So if you think that, we're just gonna bomb Iran's enrichment facilities or whatnot and get away with it, first of all, Iran's going to retaliate, and we don't know in what capacity, whether it be Hezbollah attacking Israel or else something abroad. But the point is that they're rational in that sense. That if they're attacked, they'll respond. And what will the Russians do? Will they start launching missiles at the Israelis? I mean, I get a feeling that our military is really making a very strong stand here against Obama, because Obama's committed us to backing into a World War III by Obama saying, we're unconditionally supporting Israel, by giving them bunker busters and other very advanced technology for waging an offensive war against Iran. So basically, Obama, on one hand, he says we want to talk to Iran. On the other hand, he's basically bolstering Israel and apparently cutting deals, like saying hold off the attack until after the election. But it may not be that long. The point is, these guys want it, as the Joint Chiefs have said, they want it before summer, by about June, because by June sandstorms start to pick up. It becomes much more risky an operation. So
and now 3 aircraft carriers are massing there. People have to understand, it's not America versus Russia. The global bankers are playing all these countries off against each other, and they want to sit back and watch us go into debt and use the war as a distraction from them absorbing the euro and announcing world government.
Exactly. And that's their next step. But the real thing is, these guys are lunatics. I mean, are they going to prompt a nuclear engagement between the sides? Because obviously that's what's being looked at right now. I mean, the Russian military and our military are looking at the old mutual assured destruction scenarios in terms of their technologies. Now, obviously, their technology is advanced 20 years or more. We don't know exactly where we are with these electromagnetic pulse weapons, things that could wipe out energy grids and our power. But obviously, I know that we have martial law established now in this country, so that we're basically prepared, it seems, for some kind of worldwide engagement. And
you just hit the key. They are building bunkers, storing food, getting martial law ready publicly, and setting up an architecture for World War III. I mean, they are, again, Europe and Latin America, the Middle East, they're not even the primary target. We in the West are the target of this war because, again, the globalists are outside of us. They're playing us off against each other.
Precisely. These guys have no allegiance to America. We got to stop thinking that this financial faction of Wall Street has anything to do with America. Wall Street is the biggest terrorist that we face as American people. Our enemy is imperialism. We are a sovereign republic. We believe in the idea of a republic being sovereign over its territory, over its finance and economics. Wall Street has no allegiance to us. So why should we have allegiance to them? Why are we bailing out these guys who are international in their nature?
It's not just that they don't have allegiance, as you said. Wall Street is financing getting rid of our republic and our freedom.
Exactly. They're the biggest terrorists we face. Wall Street has terrorized more people than Iran ever could in America, across the world.
Sean, I want to get you back up next week or even sooner just on Iran, because this is so important. Just amazing information.